Hey folks, I'm Andrew Tarantola with Engadget, coming to you from sunny San Francisco at the PlayStation Software Showcase, where we're taking a look at some of the hottest, coolest, and most exciting games that are coming out for the PSVR this holiday season. Let's take a look.
First off, we took a look at Skyrim Vr, a virtual reality port of the classic Bethesda fantasy RPG. If you've already played through the game, you won't be in for many plot surprises, though this version does include all of the available expansions right off the bat. Instead of using the DualShock controller, the VR version leverages the motion control wands, with each commanding one of your in-game hands. This adds a fun sense of empowerment since you can now fight off enemies from multiple sides at the same time. The VR port now also offers a teleportation feature, so rather than having to hold down the left controller's trigger for hours on end, you can effectively bunny hop through the world instead. I wasn't a big fan of its slideshow-like effect, but it is helpful since the game doesn't allow you to back up easily. What's more, there's a weird disconnect when you're like swinging a large battle axe in-game, but only feeling the lightness of the motion controller in your actual hand. Everything gets very flippy. If you're looking for something a little bit more frightening, be sure to check out Inpatient. Set in the same universe as Until Dawn, but 60 years prior to the start of the last game, you play as an amnesiac asylum patient who must not only escape from the hospital in which you are confined, but also piece together your shattered memories. It plays very much like Wilson's Heart, which was released earlier this year for the Oculus Rift, and involves a lot of puzzle solving and investigation. Inpatient doesn't stay incarcerated for very long, however. The entire game should only take about 3 to 4 hours to complete, but it does contain enough jump scares to keep you awake all night. This PlayStation exclusive drops on November 21st. League of War is sure to bring a smile to the military strategist in your family. It's a virtualized tabletop battle simulator. Think of Command & Conquer, but in VR. Two players face off against one another and send out a variety of troops in efforts to destroy their opponent's base. Everything from foot soldiers and APVs to tanks and helicopters. What's really cool is that this is designed as a party game, so that while one person plays using the headset and motion controllers, the other person can play using the TV and DualShock. You can compete against online opponents as well. The game features a number of playable characters, each with their own strengths, as well as a number of unlockable maps and loadouts. It drops on November 7th for just $20. Perhaps the wildest game we saw at the event was Spring Vector. It's a competitive online racing game, think Mario Kart, but on skates, replete with 7 opponents, natural hazards, and deployable weapons and traps. And you'd better be ready for a workout because in order to go, you've got to pump your arms with motion controllers in each hand. And I mean hard. It's a motion very akin to ice skating and will get you sweaty after just a couple races. Unfortunately, there's no release date available for Spring Vector just yet. We also got a few minutes on Doom VR, where you play the last surviving human in a UAC facility overrun by demons from hell. When we saw this game back at E3, it only worked with the DualShock controller and the motion controllers. Now, however, the game has integrated the aim controller as well. It makes all the difference. Being able to aim down a rifle-shaped controller rather than flick your thumbs about on a DualShock adds an impressive degree of realism and immersiveness. Granted, you're still gonna die, like a lot, but at least you'll satisfyingly take down some cacodemons with you. We also got a brief preview of Farpoint's newest expansion, a one-on-one multiplayer battle arena. Players can enter either a straight deathmatch or jump into a King of the Hill style competition. But it won't just be you and one other fighter running around out there. The levels are studded with spawn points where each team can generate AI fighters for their sides, turning a game of cat and mouse into a full-blown bar brawl. And if that wasn't enough, this expansion will offer 15 new unlockable weapons in addition to the original 5. And, best of all, this expansion is free if you already own the base game. This game is a bit overwhelming and disconcerting at first, but once you get accustomed to the fast-paced action, it begins to feel natural. What's more, since your avatar's movement and vision/aiming are not directly connected, you'll be able to sneak peeks out around obstacles or raise your weapon over them to blindly fire into crowds of enemies. It's everything I ever wanted from Quake Arena to be. Finally, we got to spend a few minutes on Bravo Team, an intense cover-based shooter not unlike the Time Crisis series. You play as a member of an elite counter-terrorism squad who must battle baddies while staying out of their lines of fire. Like Time Crisis, players will need to squeeze the L2 trigger in order to pop up from behind cover, take their shots, and then duck back before the enemy replies. Cooperation is the key to winning here. Players will have to operate in 2-person squads and use their wits, communication skills, and teamwork just as much as their itchy trigger fingers in order to survive. Like Inpatient, Team Bravo is a relatively short game with a story mode clocking in at just 3 to 4 hours. It will retail for $40 when it's released on December 6th.
Well, that does it for us here at the showcase, folks. We've seen shooters, we've seen puzzlers, we've seen psychological thrillers. So no matter what sort of VR experience you're looking for, you're sure to find something great around the Festivus Pole this holiday season.